Hey guys, it's TF Now. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing another action figure review. This time it's going to be of the brand new McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse classic version of the Riddler. Very excited for this particular figure here. I didn't review it with the Hush Superman or Tim Drake Robin because it would have been a triple review, and I thought that just would have been a little too much. But all of these kind of came out around the same time a couple weeks ago. So it's kind of cool to see that these will get announced now a couple months before release, because this was announced I think in like mid-June, I think, and we now have it instead of sometimes a 6-month or almost a year wait with some import companies. And then sometimes it's kind of like that with Marvel Legends too. With this particular figure, I was really excited because I thought, even though it looked really simple, it looked very, very good in its execution. Simple yet effective. So as you see here in the box, it's the standard packaging with McFarlane Toys figures. You've been looking at this 360 here while I've been rambling. The back of the box is particularly cool with that classic art. I'm really digging that. Here's the bottom of the box in case you need the barcode if this is showing up in stores, or I'll leave links in the description below if this is still in stock on certain websites. Here's the figure out of the packaging in the 360 view. This thing is really nicely done. I'm really digging it. I will say with my particular figure, there are some mishaps on mine, so we'll talk about that in a second. And then there are a couple common things with other McFarlane toys that I'm not super happy with. But this is really nicely done. Let's take a look at the accessories, then we'll take a closer look at the figure. Let's go over the basics really quick. We have a black circular base that they have a ton of with this line and their other lines too. You guys are familiar with this by now. The DC logo right there, foot peg. For the hole on the bottom of the foot, we have this collectible card that is the same art that was on the back of the box. It says Riddler DC Classic on the back here. Here's how that card looks. And then if you pause and read that with this close-up here, you get, there we go actually, you get a read-up of the Riddler right there. I was covering that on accident. So I want to show off that this figure came packaged with this expressive, like, sprawled out finger hand and this left gripping hand. This figure comes with a bunch of other hands. When some of these figures lately have been coming with a lot of hands, like one of the Blue Beetles from the movie, and I think Jim Gordon Batman that just dropped today for pre-order. It's the 24th of August when I'm recording this. A lot of those come with a lot of hands, and they're very similar types of hands. So what I want to talk about with this set, though, this is kind of a yikes. This is a brighter type of purple. This is a darker, this is glossier too. So we have a glossy, brighter purple and a little bit of a darker, slightly matte purple. There's way more wrinkles here than this. So it seems like, I'm looking at it, it's not like, you know, I don't expect hands to be exactly the same, but, you know, a lot of them, they would just kind of like flip how the hand is supposed to look to make it look, you know, accurate. This really just kind of doesn't match how each arm is supposed to look. I'll show off at the end of the review what these look like in the figure. We do get a little bit of detailing in the palms here, but not nearly as much as like the back of the hands, to where these look like actual gloves. So this is just kind of odd to me that this happened, but hey, two fists. We also have one gripping hand right there. I showed off the left gripping hand. Is this gonna have accuracy? This also, weird. Okay, this also, I'm looking at it through the viewfinder and in person. This is kind of, again, a little bit of a brighter, glossier purple compared to this. But then this, like, I'm not so sure if purples are going to match up exactly. I think everything will look fine when I'm posing things around, so it won't look too out of place. But it's a little odd. But this is a, you know, right grip hand. It has a separation of the index finger from the rest of the hands. You can see some of the details of wrinkles in the palms on the back of the hands there too. Just the one hand. We have a thumbs up hand and a pointing hand. So these look very like accurate with each other. Like they both look like the same color and the same type of texturing going on here. We do have wrinkles on the back of the hands. Thumbs up going on here. And then the pointing finger. Again, similar to like one of the Blue Beetles and that Jim Gordon that we're getting now. They get a lot of these different types of hands. And they have a lot of the same exact posing. Like the Blue Beetle comes with not this exact same sculpt, but the same pose. I think the right hand for Blue Beetle might be a pointer, but I digress. Last but not least, just to quickly talk about this open palm hand. And there's one more accessory I do have to talk about after this. You have the wrinkles in the palms there. This looks really good. The fingers look nice. And then you do have his cane right here with the question mark. This is really gummy. Wow. Very, very gummy. Keep that in mind. This could warp. There's a decent amount of gold paint on this particular thing here. And the sculpting on here isn't too bad if we get a close-up look at it. It's just the gumminess bugs me because when you're posing this around, this is a little bit of a shorter accessory. But if you pose this with two hands, this the placement of the arms could warp this. So that's kind of interesting. But the amount of accessories we get here for 20 to $25 is really nice. That section went a little longer than I wanted to, so hopefully I'm not going to ramble too much about what's going on here. One thing you can clearly see on the right side of the forehead, there is a black splotch there, unfortunately. Now you can't see this that much, but in person it looks like a little bit of skin tone splotching. If I turn down the brightness, you might be able to see that. See on the left cheek, it's like kind of inconsistent, like blushing type of paint they got going on there. It looks really good with the creasing near the chin, or the cheek, I should say, excuse me, and the edge of the mouth there. The sculpting is fine. It's just a little, so whatever's going on here is a little thick. That purple mask with the wide eyes, that's really clean though. There's the dimple on the chin, that's pretty nice. And this hair sculpt does have some paint going on in here. It's mostly just a black some sculpt going on here. I think it's a separate piece compared to the rest of the head. But then we do have some light blue highlights going on there as if, light is hitting his hair. So I think that is actually really nice. From what I could tell, I think it might be because of the blushing on the cheeks and the chin, or that. Okay, so this skin tone is pretty consistent with the neck. I feel like something is keeping me from thinking it's like that on this side, but you would have to look really hard to see any inconsistencies. So I don't get that many McFarlane Toys figures, maybe like usually 2 a year, and I've gotten like 6 a year, or 6 this year, I should say. This body may have been reused, or it could get reused in the future, but this is a really nice, like, basic body that I could see them easily use for other characters. If anyone knows if this was used for other characters, let me know. I would appreciate it. So what we have is, I think this is molded in green and that skin tone was painted on. This bright green comes through really nice. Everything is really consistent with all that green. All of these question marks are very cleanly printed on here. They all look nice. They're all very consistent with how they're all supposed to look. Whereas, they have a little bit of that swoosh. Kind of like how the end of the cane here looks. And then this is more of a normal looking question mark right there. You get it on the biceps, the shoulders. I don't love how thin these disc pieces for the butterfly joint is, because this could get really gappy. But I mean, at least the color's consistent. I'm looking at the glove hand here. So actually, first things first is that you see how this is sculpted. They have kept this sculpting as accurate as possible to how it's supposed to look anatomically, because a lot of the times in the past they've just used like ball joints and it kind of looked a little weird. So even though it breaks up the way that it's supposed to look, like this and that, when you have it like this, it's really nice. So when you pose this around, you're really not going to tell that much, especially if it's like going like this or something. Yeah, you can't really tell that much with it being out of focus. This is a separate piece right here, this glove piece, and there's some nice wrinkles going on in here, but this is molded in purple. Same thing going on here with this right flat hand. This looks rather good. See the back of the hand with the wrinkle details for the gloves and the palms too. And then we have this gripping hand, which if I put these together, again, this purple looks a little bit darker and more, and I would say less glossy, not really matte. But whereas this is a lot glossier to me and a brighter purple. But this is the gripping left hand. Is there something on the back of the knuckles, or is that... I thought there was extra, like, knuckle duster detail, but I think that's just the knuckles. They've been known to use some hands in the past from, like, I think Hush Batman had, you know, fists that had certain detailing, and then the gripping hands didn't have, you know, they looked different from how the fists are supposed to look. So with this, I don't think it's that big of a problem. I have to look again. I think that's just the knuckles protruding just a little too much. Can this come off? There's a splotch on the palm right there, so that's interesting. I think there's a splotch. Is that a splotch? Yeah, so there's a black splotch on this separate cuff here too. The musculature on this guy is really nice. You have the nice muscles in the pecs. You have the abs and the ribs coming through. Muscles on the biceps. In the viewfinder, this green looks a little brighter than what's going on here, but in person it all looks more consistent. The silver on the buckle is really good with this purple belt. Yeah, I believe it is ported on here. I don't think it's a separate piece. If I was to start pulling more, I think there's a little bit of glue keeping this together. If I was to start pulling more, I think this belt would come undone. We do have the crotch piece that is a soft plastic like they use for a lot of their figures. And we do have more question marks. The rest of it, it's just kind of muscles at this point. You do see some muscles on the inner thighs. You see what's going on with the knees. Again, it looks a little inconsistent with the greens. Like a little, it's kind of yellowish here, and then like an actual, like, I guess lime green kind of. But in person, it's not that noticeable. There's some line detailing going on right here. And then these details, like this is clearly separate plastic where the shin meets the boots. Well, really, I guess the bottom of the knee, because this is the shin right there. And kind of like what they did with the wrists, what they've been doing is they've been anatomically, you know, accurately, I guess, making these joints here they're basically not ball joints, you know what I mean? They fit with the actual body sculpt. So that looks fine. This is a little distracting with these joints, but it's fine. That's what the bottom of the feet look like. And then the top of the feet, there's not much going on here. These black pegs for the hinge is a little distracting, but I can kind of get over it. One thing I want to quickly mention is that with certain McFarlane Toys figures, it's kind of weird to straighten out the legs. When you straighten out the knee all the way, like it's supposed to be if he's standing all the way up, it looks like this is how it's going to look flat. And this is like really curved. And then you're going to have to bend the knee and then push this forward a little bit. And yeah, the knee looks bent, but this is really the only way it's going to be able to stand up straight. It was like this when I was doing the 360 portion. So because of how they have like a ratchet system where it goes into one place and it's not like you can really put it in any position you want exactly, it kind of just makes standing straight and standing flush kind of weird for these figures. It's happened on this one. I think it's like that really bad on the Hush Batman. I don't know if it's been like that with every figure I've gotten this year, but it's not that bad with this particular figure. Standard articulation with this particular figure and the other figures in this line, side to side with a dumbbell joint. Head looks up pretty good, actually. And then the down could be better. We do have a rotation, so we get all this range of motion. So we do have a little bit better forward and back, but I feel like some parts of it get a little stuck with the... Yeah, like this is stuck forward right now, and then I have to like maneuver things. It does move a little bit up and down with this butterfly system, and then all the way around here. That's as far out as it wants to go. If you lift it up a little bit, this might pop out if I lift it up anymore. Upper arm swivel here, we get double jointed elbows, and it bends. If you bend the bottom part like this, these kind of get in the way of each other, but that is as far as it goes. Like that's still really good. Swivel and a hinge that can go up and down. You can make it go in and out. That's with a lot of their figures. Ball joints here and here at the waist. So combination of back is fine. The forward could be better. These figures really need a better forward system. And side to side like this, pretty good rotation anywhere you go with this particular figure. Let's see. So the legs, the soft crotch, you know, plastic crotch, I should say, makes it go forward that much. I think it could be a little bit better and not really back that much. Pretty much perfect splits, but also the trunks kind of keep it from they push it down a little bit, but not too bad. Now, this does have a little bit of a limited thigh swivel, but even this much out, where you can tell the knee is being, outward, and then this forward, that is way better than the Robin and Superman I just reviewed. I'm fine if all their figures had just this range of motion. It would be great if it was a complete swivel like Marvel Legends, but nothing is what annoys me. This I can totally deal with. That's the last time in this week I'm going to complain about that, because you guys have heard me enough. Double jointed knees right there. We have a swivel here at the ankle. This is as far down as it wants to go, and far up as the foot wants to go there. And an ankle rocker here. The swivel kind of makes it a little hard. Toe hinge. Measuring out the figure, this is going to be around 17.5 to 18 centimeters tall. And that is going to put this just a little bit over 7 inches tall. With some other McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse figures like the Nightfall Batman and the Tim Drake Robin I just reviewed. First of all, that Robin to me is too tall. I think he should be just a tiny bit shorter. He is a little shorter than Riddler, but I think he should be more. And I do think Riddler at the top of each of their heads might be a little bit taller than Batman, but he has a little bit more length with the ears. Over on the far left and right, you have basic sized Marvel Legends and Black Series figures, which are going to be out of scale with the 7-inch McFarlane Toy stuff. Overall, I do like this figure. I think that they did a really great job overall with this body. Again, I said it, simple yet effective. It does what it needs to do really well. It's not really kind of reinventing the wheel with this particular body. It's just a dude in a spandex suit with some glove details. It works really well. The head sculpt is really clean. I do think my figure has a couple of paint splotches I'm not super duper happy with. The amount of accessories with this figure is really cool. It's just that some of the purple with the gloves, it's weirdly inconsistent with some and then consistent with others. So it's kind of weird what's going on there. It's not too much of a drag for me. I do think it's really not a big of a complaint, but the cane is a little too, just a little too gummy. But it still works just fine. This is a really nice figure. There's not much else to talk about with, the detailing and sculpt and articulation. You know what you're getting with a McFarlane Toys figure like this, but it's really solid. And if you need it as a classic, Riddler with some of your other classic characters that we have so far, which we don't really have that many, then this is it for you, even if it is in the 7-inch scale when I'm more of a 6-inch collector. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment down below what you think about the figure, what you think about the review. Leave a like, share amongst your friends, follow me on Instagram for more content over there, and I'll see you guys later.